BTS has been accused of having plastic surgery. But is it true? Let's look at the facts. A plastic surgeon reveals information about V. Meanwhile, Jimin said he couldn't shower for days while in the military and people are furious, and RM confessed that he fell victim to a spam message. Watch until the end because you need to hear this. A plastic surgeon reveals information about BTS's V. So I saw something today that I thought was actually pretty interesting. A well-known plastic surgeon in Korea did this visual tournament with 32 male idols, where he compared features, symmetry, proportions, all the things surgeons look at when people come in for consultations. As he went through each round, he explained why certain faces stood out more than others. And in the end, the surgeon picked V as the final winner. What really caught my attention wasn't just the result. We all know V gets called one of the top visuals in K-pop all the time, but the explanation behind it. The surgeon said something like, "When men come in for consultations, the photo they most often bring is V's. He's the face men want to resemble." To me, that says a lot, because being seen as attractive by fans is one thing, but being used as a reference point by actual clients in a clinic, that's a different level of influence. It means his features aren't just appealing, they're considered an ideal. And surgeons have mentioned this before. V's face sits really close to the so-called golden ratio. He has this mix of sharper features with the softness that fits Korean beauty standards. It's a combination that works internationally, which might explain why he consistently ranks on those world's most handsome lists year after year. BTS has been accused of having plastic surgery. But is it true? Let's look at the facts. Back in 2017, a media outlet got in touch with a plastic surgeon from Beverly Hills. You know, the place that practically invented the idea of cosmetic surgery. The outlet wanted his professional take on something fans have debated for years. Had any of the BTS members ever had plastic surgery? The surgeon didn't dodge the question. He said yes. But honestly, I disagree. If you look at old pictures of the members, they look pretty much the same. There aren't any major differences. And what makes me personally doubt that they underwent any plastic surgery is that many of their features don't even match South Korea's typical beauty standards. For example, some members like V have monolids. If they had gotten any work done, I'm pretty sure that would have been the first thing they'd have been expected to fix. However, in the surgeon's view, if there was work done, it was likely subtle and tasteful, nothing extreme. He also made a point I found pretty important. What's seen as too much in one country can be totally normal in another. South Korea, for instance, has a very different relationship with plastic surgery than the US. There, it's not just about vanity. It's often tied to opportunity, confidence, and social status. According to reports, about 1 in 5 Korean women had undergone cosmetic surgery, compared to just 1 in 20 in the US. That's a huge difference, and I think it helps explain how these procedures are viewed in K-pop culture. Now, despite all the opinions, guesses, and online before and after comparisons, only one BTS member has ever confirmed getting surgery, and that's RM. In 2018, Big Hit Entertainment put out a statement explaining that RM had undergone surgery for a deviated septum. That's not a cosmetic thing. It's a medical issue that can make it hard to breathe properly. The agency clarified that it wasn't about changing his looks, and that he had already been discharged and would be taking some time to rest. I actually remember that announcement when it came out, and it was pretty straightforward. No one accused him of trying to change the way he looks. As for the rest of the group, there's been no confirmation from any of them. Of course, that hasn't stopped fans and critics from speculating. Some people love to compare old debut photos to more recent ones, looking for tiny differences in nose shape or jawlines. Honestly, some of the theories get a little intense, but unless someone from the group says it themselves, it's all just speculation. What I find more fascinating, though, is how this whole topic has impacted fans. In 2018, a British fan named Ollie London made headlines around the world. He wanted to look exactly like Jimin, and he actually went through with it. According to him, he wasn't trying to become Asian, just to resemble Jimin as closely as possible. Whether people believe him or not, the obsession was very real. But by 2019, things started to go downhill for him physically. Doctors warned that he might lose the structure of his nose entirely. That's not just cosmetic damage. That's the kind of thing that changes your life, and not in a good way. BTS themselves have been loud and clear about self-love, self-acceptance, and the importance of being true to yourself. In the past, RM spoke at the United Nations and encouraged young people around the world to embrace who they are. He talked about identity, about being proud of where you come from, what you look like, how you identify, and he urged people to speak their truth. That message wasn't just a one-time speech either. BTS has built an entire part of their identity around these themes. They partnered with UNICEF, spoke at international events, and kept bringing these values into their lyrics and public appearances. That's probably one of the reasons why their fanbase feels so deeply connected to them. It's not just the music. Personally, I think it has more to do with the fact that BTS has always been extremely transparent with their fanbase, and they've never tried to hide or change who they really are. And they encourage their fans to do the same. At the end of the day, whether the rest of the group has had work done or not feels kind of irrelevant. I mean, sure, it's interesting to talk about, but it's not what matters most. People love BTS because of what they stand for. Vulnerability, honesty, emotional openness, and the kind of strength that comes from being kind to yourself. That's rare in the entertainment industry, and I think fans recognize that. V's interaction with his dad goes viral. Social media has a way of grabbing onto small moments and turning them into something much bigger. And that's exactly what happened this week with BTS's V. In his latest YouTube vlog, V's Vlog in Los Angeles, there's a short, funny exchange between him and his dad that somehow stole the show. Honestly, out of all the polished, carefully planned content we usually see from K-pop stars, this moment stood out because it didn't feel polished at all. It just felt human. The whole thing takes place in an airport lounge. V had just wrapped up his schedule in Los Angeles and was enjoying some downtime before his flight. He's there in comfy clothes, eating tacos, burgers, and fries like any tired traveler might. Nothing glamorous. But then his phone lights up, and whatever he sees instantly cracks him up. It's the kind of sudden, genuine laugh that makes you want to know what's going on. So of course he tells us. Apparently, his dad had randomly sent him a photo of a pair of shoes. No message, no explanation, just the shoes. V, still laughing, texted back asking, "Why do you want those?" And his dad replied instantly with a very direct, "Yes." That made V laugh even harder. And without missing a beat, he told his dad, "Then take them." That was the whole exchange. But it hit fans hard in the best way. I think it's because it showed that V is just a normal person. When we think about BTS and their massive success, it's easy to forget that they're just like us. I know I forget that sometimes. There was something about the moment that felt familiar, even if most of us aren't international pop stars with global fan bases and a lot of money. That's part of what I think makes V so beloved. He's undeniably famous, one of the most recognizable faces in the world, yet he still finds ways to show us moments like this. Jimin said he couldn't shower for 5 days. People are furious. Earlier this year, Jimin and Jungkook wrapped up their mandatory military service in South Korea. Fans were excited to see them again. I mean, we hadn't seen them out and about in months, but almost immediately, people noticed something was off. Both of them looked slimmer, more tired, a little worn out. Even RM, who had also just finished service, gave off that same exhausted vibe. At first, no one said much. Maybe they were just adjusting. But then whispers started online. People began to wonder, what actually happened while they were enlisted? And fans' concern only grew after Disney Plus dropped a teaser. It was a short trailer for the second season of Are You Sure?, the travel reality show Jimin and Jungkook filmed together. Honestly, I thought it would be lighthearted, just two friends traveling, eating, laughing. And for the most part, it is. But then there's this one scene where they're talking about their time in the military, and Jimin casually says, "I didn't shower for 5 days." Now, when I first heard that, I wasn't sure how to take it. He didn't seem upset when he said it. It almost came off as a funny memory, like the kind of thing you bring up later and laugh about. But clearly, a lot of people didn't see it that way. And I get it. Jimin is someone who has done so much for South Korea, and now he's saying he went 5 days without bathing during his military service. That hit a nerve. Very quickly, fans started talking. Some were shocked, some were angry. And not just because it happened to Jimin, but because if someone with his level of fame experienced that, what does that say about how ordinary soldiers are treated? People started asking, if Jimin had to go through that, how bad must it be for the guys no one knows, who don't have cameras following them or millions of fans watching over them? Online reactions exploded. Some users were furious with the military system, saying it was clearly failing its soldiers, even its most high-profile ones. I saw people call it a human rights violation, which might sound extreme, but in the context of how basic hygiene is such a fundamental need, I understand where they're coming from. What surprised me even more was how quickly the conversation expanded. It wasn't just about Jimin anymore. His comment opened the floodgates to a much larger conversation about military life in South Korea. People were asking how things like this were still happening in 2025. They started pointing fingers at the government, calling out the conscription system as outdated, too harsh, and in desperate need of change. Some fans also started wondering if Jimin had been more affected by his service than he let on. This made people question whether he had experienced more than he was willing or able to share. Of course, he hasn't followed up or explained further, so we don't know. But that didn't stop people from reading between the lines. It's like that offhand comment revealed more than it was supposed to. RM also revealed in the past that he struggled a lot during his military service, that he hated every second of it, though not in those exact words, and that, because of it, he even had to visit a mental health clinic. He also shared that the experience affected his sleep to the point where he now needs to take sleeping pills. Personally, I don't know how to feel about this. Sure, I feel bad that the BTS members had to go through it, and I'm sure it must have been hard. But we can't judge South Korea for it. They're not putting their citizens through this because they want to, but because they have to. We have to remember that South Korea is dealing with a neighbor like North Korea. It's easy to criticize them, but they're only doing what they feel is necessary to protect their country. What's your opinion on this? I'd like to hear it. RM confessed that he fell victim to a spam message. On December 2nd, RM did what only RM can do. He turned a spam message into a surprisingly poetic and hilarious Instagram story. And honestly, I wasn't ready for it. I expected some kind of update or maybe a moody scenery pic, but instead, we got him falling victim to emotional spam. And not just any spam, literary spam. He shared a screenshot and joked that spam messages these days are basically art. He said it was like they somehow knew he liked running, because every time one popped up, it made his heart flutter. And every time, he fell for it again. You could practically hear the deadpan delivery through the screen. And if you followed RM for a while, you know this is exactly his type of humor. Self-aware, a little sarcastic, and perfectly timed. Now here's the thing. The message that tricked him didn't even look like a scam. Let me show you what it said. Let's begin with a light, effortless run. May warm happiness and bright smiles be with you throughout December. Like a gentle tremble spreading into comfort, a once paused heartbeat finds its rhythm again. Thank you deeply for the precious time we shared. If there was anything lacking, please forgive us with your generous heart. I don't know about you, but that doesn't read like a typical scam message. There's no sketchy link, no urgent click here before midnight nonsense. It's giving more K-drama goodbye monologue than it is phishing attempt. And the fact that RM opened it, probably expecting something running related, just makes the whole thing even better. The man literally got scammed by feelings. Did V just buy a supercar? On November 28th, V casually dropped a set of Instagram photos, but tucked inside the post was something that made the internet pause. A masked V sitting behind the wheel of a sleek black sports car, legs tucked up, clearly not trying to make a big deal out of it. But of course, everyone made a big deal out of it. It didn't take long for fans to figure out what car it was. People zoomed in, looked at the seat design, dashboard layout, even the angle of the headlights, and came to the same conclusion. It was a 2025 Ford Mustang GTD. Not exactly a quiet purchase. Let me explain why this stood out. The GTD isn't just a cool car, it's a monster. It's basically a street-legal race car usually seen on tracks, not highways. And the price? Up to $325,000. Sometimes even $350,000 depending on the upgrades. So yeah, this isn't something you just casually pick up unless you're really into cars or you're V. What's funny is that this isn't the first time V's had a Mustang moment. Back in December 2021, he shared a video of himself driving a red Ford Mustang convertible on vacation. At the time, it seemed like a rental, something fun to cruise around in during his break. But now, looking back, it honestly feels like a test run that turned into a full-on purchase 4 years later. Also worth noting, just last month, he arrived at the airport in a Bentley Flying Spur instead of the usual company SUV. So if you're keeping track, that's 2 luxury vehicles in as many months. and it's becoming pretty clear V is building himself quite the collection. I mean, if you're a global superstar with millions in earnings, why not? But what I love about this post is that it wasn't just about flexing the Mustang. Alongside the luxury, there was a softer, more personal moment, a photo and short video with his close friend Park Hyung-sik. These two go way back, having met on the set of Hwarang, the K-drama they filmed years ago. In the video, V and Hyung-sik are dancing together. Based on earlier reports that the Wooga squad had been vacationing in Hawaii recently, it seems likely that this footage came from that same trip. The rest of the group wasn't in this post, but if you know them, you know they're not the kind to constantly document everything. Their bond doesn't need social media validation, and honestly, that's what makes it feel so real. So here's what I took away from this post. V's life is full of extremes. One minute he's driving a $350,000 race car, the next he's barefoot, dancing with his best friend on a beach somewhere. There's also the possibility that the car was just a rental. I mean, who brings their own car to the other side of the world just for a vacation? So that was probably the case here, but who knows? Anyway, it's funny how a few photos can say so much.